For some of us, features just don't cut it. A large television, seats that massage and cool your bum, and maybe even large windows on the roof. These aren't thrilling enough, they aren't fun. All we want is speed, power, and the ability to time the most perfect shift into the next gear. We want oomph from the engine and that simple joy of controlling direction and speed. For you speed enthusiasts out there, especially for those of you on a budget, I've made a list of entry-level cars. And I'm only going to be talking about the base variants of these cars with a given engine and gearbox combination. With that, let's get started on cheap cars with the most horsepower. Like this Wagoner at number 6. It's got a K12N engine, which is a 1.2 liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated petrol, and it is mated to a 5-speed gearbox. This engine puts out 90 horsepower and 113.8 Newton meters of torque. I mean, who would have guessed that the Wagoner can be a powerful car? This engine is in fact only sold on the Wagoner because the Swift and the Desire have moved on to newer and more fuel efficient 3-cylinder 1.2 liter engines. And this base variant manual will only cost you 8.7 lakhs on road Bangalore. Moving on to number 5, we have the handsome and sensible Honda Amaze with its 1.2 liter 4-cylinder iVTEC petrol engine. And believe me when I say this engine will probably last longer than the car itself. The Amaze is an Elevate from the front and a City from the back, and talking about power figures, it produces 90 horsepower and 110 Newton meters of torque. It is a no-nonsense product, so plain and unsalted that it actually works for Honda. Well, how much you ask? This V variant with a manual transmission is going to cost about 9.8 lakhs on road in Bangalore, and it is currently the cheapest Honda you can buy in the country. At number 4 is a surprising entrant on this list, and that is the Maruti Suzuki Brezza. Now I know I've cheated here a bit because it costs 10.86 lakhs for the base variant with a manual transmission. Slightly above the rest of the cars in this list, but it is also a segment above. It gets a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder naturally aspirated petrol with a 5-speed manual transmission, 100 brake horsepower, and 138 Newton meters of torque. Plus, it is one size above the rest of these cars on this list. And if you ask me, that's a very good deal for 10.86 lakhs. And with this, my friends, we're done with the 4-cylinder naturally aspirated engines. Alright, we're into the top 3 now, but before that, please subscribe to the channel and join the Car Stats family as we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. At number 3, we have the Skoda Kayak, which a lot of us believe is a natural and obvious progression to the Polo. The Polo didn't make sense for India anymore because the global Polo design was more than 4 meters in length. And also, people, thanks to our roads, want better ground clearance now. This car gets a 1 liter 3-cylinder turbo petrol motor, spitting out 114 horses and a juicy 178 Newton meters of torque. All yours for 9.9 lakhs. The runner-up to this list? Well, before that, let me add a spanner in here. What's horsepower without power to weight ratio? I mean, it is the ideal way of trying to determine how fun a car can be. And after these 2 cars on this list, we're going to compare all these cars when it comes to power to weight ratio. So hold on to your seats. But first, here's the runner-up, the Mahindra XUV 3XO, especially the MX-1 variant with a turbo petrol engine and a 5-speed gearbox. This car gets a slightly detuned version of its more powerful petrol engine. The code name for this engine though is the M Stallion TC MPFI engine. It's a 1.2 liter 3-cylinder turbo petrol which produces 110 horsepower and 200 Newton meters of torque. The torquiest car, in fact, on this list. There is a more powerful version of this variant, but cars with that engine don't cost you less than 10 lakhs. And this XUV 3XO MX-1 manual variant will cost you 9.83 lakhs on road in Bangalore. And finally, at first place, we have the Tata Nexon, which also shares its engine with the Altroz Racer. But strangely, you can't buy an Altroz with the same engine for under 10 lakhs. This 1.2 liter 3-cylinder Revotron engine produces 118 horsepower, as much as the Honda City, and 170 Newton meters of torque, which is way more than the Honda City. This is a very good deal indeed and will cost you about 9.86 lakhs on road in Bangalore and will come mated to a 5-speed manual transmission. Alright, now that we've finished this list of the most powerful cars under 10 lakhs, let's talk about power to weight ratio. And power to weight ratio is simply the amount of horsepower you have per 1000 kgs or 1 ton of car. This is a rather important number because this will perhaps determine which car will be quicker off the line and more engaging to drive. And I know this list may disappoint some of y'all, but at number 6, that is the car with the least power to weight ratio, is the Mahindra XUV 3XO. Though it has a healthy horsepower number, it is a heavy car and manages a number of 84.61 horsepower per ton. At number 5, we have the Brezza. This shouldn't be that shocking because it is a heavy car. I mean, it weighs 1.13 tons and surprisingly, it is still lighter than the Kailak, than the 3XO and the Nexon. And this shows how serious Suzuki is when it comes to weight savings. The other cars are heavier, but what that means is the Brezza gets 4 stars when it comes to the NCAP ratings, and the other 3 cars that we just spoke about get 5 stars when it comes to NCAP ratings. The power to weight ratio of the Brezza is 88.49 horsepower per ton. Number 4, we have the Honda Amaze, perhaps the most beautiful car on this list. And it has a great power to weight ratio because the car weighs less than a ton. Close by at number 3 is the Tata Nexon at 95.16 horsepower per ton. I mean, this is the most powerful car here, but it weighs 1.24 tons. Alright, we have 2 cars left now. That is the Kailak and the WagonR. I never thought the WagonR will make it this far, honestly. But take a pause and see if you can figure out which car will be the car with the most power to weight ratio, and let me know in the comments below. Having said that, at number 2, we have the Polo's replacement, the Skoda Kailak, and at number 1, what a shocker, we have the WagonR, which until recently was India's best-selling car. I mean, again, how peppy a car is can also be determined by its gearbox tuning. So before you decide to buy one of these cars, make sure you get a test drive. Another point to note is that once you get the car and decide to extract more power from the engine, it is going to be easier to do on a turbocharged engine. Whether it's ECU tuning or turbo tuning, you're going to get better results while modding a turbocharged car. Having said that, I'm going to put my money on the Skoda Kailak, and I think it is pretty set to be the cheapest enthusiast car in India. But what would you do? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see y'all next week.